This podcast is to do with root canals, root canal treatment for teeth. Now, the question is, are they always necessary? My belief is that they're certainly not always necessary, even if a dentist recommends having one. Reason I say that is from my own personal experience. About 2 years ago, I was having issues with a particular tooth, and the issue was to do with sensitivity, which gradually had worsened over a period of time. And so I decided to go to my dentist for a checkup and just to mention it to him. And when he did his examination, he made the recommendation. He said, "You're going to need a root canal for that tooth." And obviously that wasn't the news I was wanting to hear. And at that time, I didn't give him the go-ahead. I just said, well, I'll see how things go. And so then I began looking for alternative cures, ways of avoiding having to have that root canal treatment. The total cost, which he quoted me, was around about £700, which, I believe it, I think that is quite a bit of money to just go and spend on a tooth. And if there are ways of avoiding that cost, then I was interested in finding out how to avoid it. So I have looked into the matter. I've done some research. I've looked on various websites and listened to other people. And I do believe that there are ways that you can possibly help your tooth, maybe even help it to recover. And it has to do with some of the recommendations are common sense, and some of them are a lot more obscure and you may not have heard of them before. So if, like me, you're interested in avoiding necessarily having a root canal treatment, which can be expensive, and also subsequently there can be problems further on down the line. If you are looking for other ways of helping your tooth, possibly to heal your tooth, then I would certainly say that in my experience, there are certainly methods or strategies that you can use which are going to help your teeth. Now, some of those methods are pretty common sense, and some of them are a lot more obscure, and you may not have come across them before. So when I decided I wasn't happy to go ahead and just follow the advice from a dentist to have that root canal treatment done, I started to do some research. I started to look on the internet, look at websites, look at what other people had said or what they recommended. And, I believe that there's a lot of information out there which can help people who are in that predicament. Of course, if you believe that your situation is beyond help, that you just need to go to a dentist, well, then obviously go to a dentist. But if you have at least the desire to investigate other methods which might help you, then all I can say is from my own experience I believe that there are alternatives available. Now, coming back to common sense things, one common sense rule, if you do have a pain in a tooth, one common sense rule is straight away cut out any sugary food. And that is vitally important. Sugar is really the enemy. Sugar is what breaks down the tooth enamel, and leads to decay. If you can cut out sugar, then you're giving your body a chance at least to partially recover from any damage which is being done. The body is continually trying to repair itself. So any damage which does get done to the body, the central nervous system will kick in and attempt to make repairs. So this is going on all the time. If you become fatigued, the body has to rest and recuperate and repair itself. If you get an injury, the body will try and repair itself. And it's actually, to some extent, it's the same with teeth. The teeth have a blood supply which goes in through the roots, and the teeth are nourished by the body, by the blood, and obviously that means that teeth have a certain capacity to heal. Obviously there are limits. If your tooth got cracked in half and half of it, was lost, well, that tooth cannot repair in the normal way, and of course you would have to go to a dentist or a specialist to see about getting it repaired. But if it's a question of something which has gradually gotten worse over a period of time, there may be a possibility that you can reverse that and actually gradually see an improvement. So we have to be aware that some of the things that we do are harming our teeth, and some of the things that we do may be actually good for our teeth. I mean, of course, brushing with toothpaste can help get rid of the harmful bacteria in your mouth, in your teeth. So there are good things, there are solutions which can help your teeth. What you've got to guard against is going past the point of no return. So if your tooth becomes so infected, so painful that your only option is to go to a dentist, well, maybe that's what you'd have to do. But if you can manage the problem, in other words, if the pain is manageable, or if it's slight, you may be able to deal with that and look for a different solution which doesn't involve the root canal treatment, because once that's done, there's no going back. That root canal treatment is there basically, the nerve, as I understand it, will be removed and the tooth will not be the same. Its structure can be maintained, but the tooth will not be the same as a living tooth. So if you are interested in preserving the tooth in its natural state, then there are alternative ways that you can attempt to do that. So one very important factor which I did follow, it was diet. Now, as I said before, it's important to cut out sugary foods. To take it a stage further, what I did was I fasted. I fasted on water, which means no food at all for a certain period of time. That I can only tell you what I did. That is something that you will have to decide yourself. But what I did was I fasted. I did a water fast for round about 4 days, water fasting. And obviously you should only attempt that if you have the correct advice from a healthcare professional. So I'm now going to describe what happened as a result of me doing the fasting. It does, of course, require some discipline. You're getting liquid into your body, but you have to go without food. People who've done fasting before usually tell you that if you've not attempted it, you can maybe start by doing a shorter fast, and then have a break from fasting, and then the next time you can build up to a slightly longer fast. So there are various ways of doing it, but coming back to my own personal experience, I decided to do the fasting for a period of between 4 and 5 days. So before I started the fasting, my toothache was quite noticeable. It wasn't the type of toothache which you felt you immediately had to go to a dentist, but it was a type of worrying toothache, nagging kind of pain, which the type of pain it was, which I would have a meal, and then a little while after the meal I would feel a throbbing in the tooth, which is obviously a way of the body telling you that the tooth is experiencing problems. So in terms of a pain level, it's not the type of pain that would make you immediately go to a dentist, but it's a type of pain which is giving you a warning signal, and that means that the warning is that the pain could get worse. So it was at that stage I decided to do the fasting. Now, on the first day of fasting, I didn't really notice an improvement. So I carried on with the fasting. Now, after perhaps a couple of days into the fast, I did notice an improvement, and I would say that by the 3rd day, or certainly the 4th day, the pain was gone, and I also noticed that the swelling had gone down, because previously I'd had some swelling in the gum around that tooth. The swelling also had gone down. So in terms of helping me, I would say that the fast was absolutely, without a doubt, helpful to me at that point in time. So that's one strategy that people have used. If you want to find out more about fasting, there's a book which is called The Mucusless Diet. It's by Arnold Ehret. The surname is spelled E-H-R-E-T. If you want to look it up, it's Arnold Ehret. And he actually did quite significant research into fasting and its effects, its beneficial effects on the human body. So if you want to obviously look that up, go ahead and find out more information. So anyway, that's one strategy that was used. But let's look at alternative remedies. And one remedy which often has been overlooked but is actually gaining more support now is colloidal silver. Now, colloidal silver, essentially what that is it's rather like a suspension of minutely tiny particles of pure silver suspended in liquid, in water. And silver is a special metal. It has certain special properties, and one of them is that it is antibacterial. So colloidal silver is an antibacterial remedy, and you can actually use that. People actually do ingest a small amount of colloidal silver. That's one way, but you can actually use it as a mouthwash. And what that will do is it will help to kill the harmful bacteria in your mouth. So colloidal silver is something that I've used, and I believe it does have a beneficial effect. I mean, the way I used it was to just take a mouthful of it and swish it around in my mouth, and don't just spit it out. When you swish it around, you have to swish it around for a period of perhaps 10 minutes, but at least, I would say, at least 5 minutes, just swishing it around to really let it absorb into the mouth and into the gums. And because those particles of silver are so small, they can actually penetrate into very small holes, and can actually get into those areas and help to kill off harmful bacteria. So that's one possible method, a method which I've used. Now, there is a very useful website called curetoothDecay.com, and the gentleman running the website has written a book called Cure Tooth Decay. I've read that book, and he makes certain recommendations within the book, which a lot of it is largely to do with diet. So one of the recommendations he makes, which is based on research which has been done by various people at various different times in history, is that he recommends intake of calcium-enriched foods, which would include dairy products. So the theory about calcium is that obviously calcium is a component of bones, and by giving your body calcium, you are arguably helping your teeth to grow, because obviously look at it from the other point of view. A lack of calcium could lead to possibly a deficiency with your teeth, because teeth are made of bone, and bones need calcium. So there's a question of what kind of foods can supply your body with calcium, and in the book he does detail a lot of those foods. As I said before, dairy products are one thing, but that's not the only thing. Seafood is actually another source, can be another source of calcium, depending on what type of seafood it is. So that's another possibility. Obviously, anybody looking into this would have to decide exactly what foods will fit in with their particular dietary beliefs. For example, someone who is vegetarian may eat certain dairy products, but someone who's vegan may wish to avoid dairy products. So obviously it depends on the individual, but at some stage, it may be a question of compromise, and only you can make that decision as to what foods that you are prepared to eat. But coming back to diet in general, it is arguably important to avoid sugar and sugary foods. So if you can cut those out, you will be helping your teeth. And then it's a question of what foods are you going to add into your diet to help your teeth, which may help nourish them. So that's I believe that's a big part of it, is diet. That's one thing. And then there are other remedies which have been recommended by various people. There is another one which is probably less well known again, which is to have turmeric powder. What you do is you mix a bit of turmeric powder in water, maybe half a teaspoon of it, in some water, and then you can swill that, mix it all together, and you can swill that around in your mouth. And again, that can have a beneficial effect, because turmeric has already been documented as having a very good effect on health, but because it's so fine and powdery, that powder can actually get into those areas and really help. One property of turmeric is that it can keep inflammation down. So in terms of pain, any throbbing, turmeric mixed in with water, swill it around, that may help. Obviously, the more well-known one is clove oil. But clove oil is actually very potent, and you probably wouldn't want to be using that regularly, although it may have a good effect and a very rapid effect in the short term. But if you're treating your teeth more long term, then you really have to be looking at other remedies. Clove oil is more of a short-term thing. So that's a few of the remedies which have been talked about, which people have apparently had results with. From my point of view, I can only say that I have had beneficial results with following these protocols, and just to be aware that there are alternatives for people that want to look into it and possibly want to try those alternatives. I can only say that I have experienced beneficial results from some of those things. So for anyone who wants to start to look into it, I would say at least go and have a look at the website curetoothDecay.com, because there's some good information on there. And also, use the internet and see what people have had success with, because it's only by looking into it, doing some research, that you may actually learn that there are alternatives available. And from the point of view of conventional dentistry, it's unlikely that your conventional dentist is going to make you aware, even if he is aware himself, because after all, he gets paid by doing those treatments, by doing those root canals and putting crowns on teeth and things like that. So it's not in his best interest or her best interest to recommend alternatives. So really, if you're motivated to do it, then by all means you can have a look at the alternatives, do some research, and obviously see if that is something that can help you. But all I can say is, from my point of view, I have had success with these things, and as I say, it was 2 years since the dentist, in earnest, said I would need a root canal, and to this day that tooth is still there. It's not had any conventional dental treatment. I've just done various remedies for myself, and I've still got the tooth. The tooth isn't giving me pain. If I manage it, then I intend to carry on that way. If I don't take care with the tooth, then yes, the pain and the inflammation can come back. But there again, that's a decision that I've made myself. I'm not saying that won't change. I mean, if I got to the stage where I had a serious problem and I couldn't find any other solution, then yes, I will be going back to the dentist and have it treated. But again, just for people that want to look for alternatives, I would say, there are alternative treatments, holistic treatments, which don't involve having a root canal, which, as I say, is going to kill off the nerve in the tooth. The structure will be there, but the tooth will not be the same. It won't be a living tooth. So that's basically all I have to say. I hope that's of some help to people. And by all means, look into it. Go off and do your own research. Look at books. Look at what people have said on the internet. And thanks for listening.